United States, good morning. We are starting
China.
off today. Hello? Coordinator, did you say something?
I said and China.
Oh, okay, and China. Unfortunately, I don't know what the time frame there now. But we welcome you to the e-conference. This e-conference started yesterday. The e-conference was brought to bring African minds together, and it is titled Africa in the Era of Uncertainty, the AU Agenda 2063 and Post-COVID-19 Threats. Yesterday's event was a commodious one indeed. We had about six presenters, and all the presenters were electrifying. Now, I'd like to go into the introduction of the people we have today, but before we go into that introduction, I'd like to mention the conveners of this conference. We'd like to give thanks to D-Lab, which is the D-Lab is the Disability Law Advocacy Project of the Department of Jurisprudence and International Law. Thank you. OSIWA is the Open Society Initiative for West Africa. We also like to thank the Department of Jurisprudence and International Law. ICONS is also represented as a convener. ICONS is the International Society for Public Law, and ICONS Nigeria is the Nigerian chapter of the International ICONS. And we have our friends from the University of Gonda. And we also have the Justice Judicial Research Cluster of the Faculty of Law, University of Ilorin, as well as the Institute for African Women in Law. Thank you very much for convening this conference. Now, there are some basic rules of engagement. The first one is whoever is not presenting will assist us in muting their video and their microphone. 2, all the presenters are going to have 10 minutes. Thereafter, we will be having question sessions, and those question sessions can come through the chat or private messages to the coordinator. Hopefully, the presenters will be able to also give us concluding remarks at the end of the day. So we want to thank you very much for coming. Our presenters are 7 in number. We have the first presenter, Professor Abdulrazak Alaro. The second presenter, Reverend Father Roland Wosu. The third one is Dr. Solomon Abiga. Dr. Abdul Karim Kana, the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice for Nasarawa State, is the fourth speaker. Then we have Dr. Ines Kajiru, Dr. Brenda Kombo, and lastly, and as we say here, not the least, Mr. Michael Adani from who did some work at the center of the COVID virus at Wuhan. Now, our first speaker, Professor Abdulrazak. Oh, before we go into that, unfortunately, I will have to thank our special guest of honor while we are still expecting him, because I hear he's trying to get in. Our special guest of honor is Professor Tom Clevin. He's of the Thurgood Marshall School of Law, Texas Southern University, Houston. Thank you. Now, first presenter will be Professor Abdulrazak Alaro. His area of specialization is Islamic financial transactions with emphasis on banking, insurance, and capital market. Currently, he is professor of law at also the head of Department of Islamic Law, Faculty of Law, University of Ilorin. He will be helping us to examine the post-COVID-19 threats, the role of religious institutions. Professor Alaro, please, you have 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Moderator. Good afternoon, everybody here from Nigeria. Good morning in America, and good evening in China. It is to read in the news that the French President Macron has actually issued an order saying that all locally made masks in France are news of French citizens that were then dying in their hundreds, if not in thousands. Around the same time, India is another country, placed an embargo on the export of certain pharmaceuticals that it thought its own citizens were in dire need. Approach from this a fact that is not deniable. Am I being heard?
Okay.
We are hearing you.
These people, very familiar of being reckoned with them as global leaders again, and they don't want that one to happen, at least soon, as politicians. So I said to myself when I saw that in the news that finally African chickens have come home to roost. We have now realized that fact, that a time may come that all those we look up unto for assistance, for loan, for interventions of different forms, a time may come that they will get preoccupied with their own problems and they won't have time to fix our own problems as Africans. So it has actually brought to fore the need for Africans to develop their own infrastructure. And looking at it from another perspective, as a student of Islamic law, I believe in everything that happens, there is a lesson to be learned. And in every disappointment, the past 3 months or so, none of them traveled to any foreign country for medical treatment, which they would normally do. They normally do that routinely, but they were unable to do that in the last 3 months. And they survived it. At least you've not heard of any African president or head of state or even a minister that we have lost, and we shall never lose any of them by the grace of God. They've survived it. It's a lesson for all of us, for them to learn. What did they do to survive? They had to make recourse to what they have in the absence of what they want. This is the reality. Africa must face it. We have to look for ways of fixing our own problems, not wait to become preoccupied with their own problems. Now, the point that I'm asked to address in this gathering, on the continent of Africa is a big issue, we all know. But there is a big but before we can proceed. How can Africa develop while it remains a hotbed of crisis? If you look around, look back 20, 40, 50 years ago, a lot of crisis, armed conflict, wars in the world. Africa has had perhaps a meaningful development that can take place in the absence of peace. In fact, it is believed that peace and development are like Siamese twins. Some people would say they are like chickens and the egg. Which one comes first? It doesn't matter. But you want egg, you need chicken. You want chicken, you need egg, and so on and so forth. So we have to look of ways of bringing about peace to reign on the continent if we really want to develop. And we must develop. COVID-19 has actually taught us that lesson in a very hard way, that we must look inward. Now, coming to peace in Africa, religious institutions have a great role to play. You and I know that a lot of these wars, crises, conflict on our continent are actually religious or ideological based. And believe me, studies after studies have established that the best war to fight an ideological or religious war is to fight it in the same way, to remove the ideological base of whoever is participating in that war or in that crisis. So we need a superior argument. This is the best way of defeating, of winning a war that is ideological or religious based. In this way, we have to look at what we call de-radicalization process. It has become a science on its own today, that you need to those that are fighting in quote religious wars, they have a very high morale, more than the conventional armies. They are already in the war wanting to die. What else are you talking about? He is at war with intention, even praying to die, because he believes in that cause strongly. He believes in that cause strongly. So we need the radicalization in Africa, and the best institution that can handle that are the religious institutions and religious scholars. To be fair to African governments, they have made an attempt here and there to de-radicalize. I want to make a reference to what is happening here in Nigeria, my own country. There is an ongoing operation called Operation Safe Corridor, to try to remove whatever is in the head of those called Boko Haram fighters that is making them to continue to wage war against their own brethren, against their own brothers and sisters and co-citizens. This Operation Safe Corridor is unfortunately not yielding the desired result. Why? Because we have not taken the right approach. And this is the point that I want to make here. I said de-radicalization on its own has become a science. You need to study and have and know the right approach to issues. Let me give an instance now. You want to de-radicalize a Boko Haram fighter, and you went on to look for a PhD holder, for example, in Islamic studies from Oxford University. We need to look beyond paper qualifications if we are talking of true de-radicalization. In an instance when you have a Boko Haram fighter being engaged in ideological discourse with a PhD holder from Harvard, from Oxford University, you have already lost the battle from the beginning. Because this is a Boko Haram fighter that believes that going to Oxford and Harvard itself is a way of becoming an infidel. He sees it as even something that is illegal. Pardon?
3 more minutes.
Mr. Chairman? Oh, okay. So as I was saying, well, it is this forum, I believe it is just to elicit research interest and further studies. So I will stop at that. The first way that I think religious institutions can contribute is what I call de-radicalization, by removing the ideological base of those wars and conflicts in Africa that are actually hindering our developmental drives, by removing the structure of the basis. The second to the level of countries like Malaysia, Singapore. We are not even talking of America or UK now. We need that is can afford. What is that is hindering our development? Also know that every year, African countries put together are spending more than $40 billion. Assuming we are to reserve those $40 billion for 10 years, Africa will become another Europe, if not another Japan, or at least another Malaysia or Singapore. So this instrument as an alternative for infrastructure development that we are in dire need of in Africa, and it is part of the ways that the religious institutions can actually be of assistance in the COVID-19 threats that we are all facing. Once again, I thank you for the opportunity. And once again, good afternoon and good morning and good evening to all of you. Thank you.
Our next speaker, you will please wait. There are already questions in the chat waiting for you, sir.
Okay, but I've already told Dr. Az I can only wait till about some minutes after 3, maybe maximally by 3:30. I'm engaged in another program.
All right.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Reverend Father Roland Nwosu, who is a Catholic priest of the Holy Ghost Fathers and Brothers Spiritan. He has a bachelor's in philosophy, religion, and cultural studies, and a higher diploma in theology and a master's in theology. He has interest in law and is currently pursuing a career in the legal profession. He examines the freedom of religious worship in the COVID-19 era. Over to you, Father. Azul, can you unmute his phone?
Hello.
Okay, Father, it's on.
Thank you, sir. You have 10 minutes.
Good afternoon, all. Good morning to those in the United States and good evening to those in China. Thank you for this opportunity to share these ideas and also to learn from the group. Now, my presentation, I have a PowerPoint which I would like to share with everyone.
So you can
And
click on the share screen on your button. You will see the share screen.
is it on?
Yes.
It's on now.
Okay. Thank you. So basically, I try to look at the concept of religion, belief, worship, and manifestation. These concepts are concepts I presume we all know. And so I wouldn't want